Alright, so in this video we're going to learn about a little photography technique called multiplicity. And that photography technique is where basically we're going to take multiple pictures of either a person like myself or an object moving around the frame, and then we're going to combine all of them later on the computer. And basically what it looks like is like there's like clones or copies of the same person just in different positions around the picture. So I have a playground structure behind me, and I'm just going to be walking all around it, and you're going to see me in different positions on the playground structure. And my camera is set on manual mode so that each exposure is the same in terms of aperture, shutter speed, and ISO. And I've also set my focusing on manual. And it's a bright sunny day, so we shouldn't have too much problems. So I'm just going to get right into it. In order to take all the pictures, you can use a remote control. You can use a friend to help you push down the button. Or you can do what I'm doing, which is I'm going to put my camera on the interval meter. Most higher end cameras have this feature, some lower end cameras don't though. It's just going to take a picture every 5 seconds automatically without me touching it. So that's just going to make things easy. So here we go, I'm going to do it right now. Okay, so as you can see, I was in multiple positions, and it takes a little creativity to figure out how you want the people interacting with each other. But the more you do it, the more it gets more fun. And I like doing this with objects as well. So for instance, I could take my camera on a tripod right now and take a picture of my camera with another camera and just move the camera around this landscape, and I could duplicate the camera like 20,000 times if I wanted to. So it looks like I have 20,000 cameras, but really I only have one. So that's that trick. Let's go on the computer and let's combine them. Alright, so we are in Photoshop CS5 right now. You can do this with Photoshop CS2, CS3, CS4. But what I'm going to do to load all the pictures up is I'm going to click File, Scripts, Load Files into Stack. Now, you may have an older Photoshop version, and if that's the case, you're just going to have to drag and drop each photo into Photoshop as a new layer. So we're going to select Files here. I'm going to click Browse, and we are going to find the folder that I took the pictures in. So they're still on my card right now, and the files started at 1171 1171 right there. That was the first picture, and then we took like 50 of them, so I ended at 1224 1224 right there. I'm going to hold down Shift and click that, and then it just selected all of them at the same time. So I'm going to click OK. Now it's going to load up all those images right here. And now if you have a few images, I would select Attempt to automatically align source images, even if your camera was on a tripod, because usually this fixes just little tiny minor errors or bumps that your camera might have had when it was taking a few pictures. But in this case, I have 50 pictures here, and that's just gonna take way too long if I check that off. So I'm gonna leave that off, and I'm also going to leave this unchecked as too. So I'll click OK, and now we just gotta wait a long time until it loads the 50 pictures that we took. So you'll see that it'll do this for a while until it has all of them loaded. So don't click anything, just wait and you'll be fine. Alright, here we go. There's the very first picture that I took, and you can see here I am. This picture did come out a little bit bright, but I'm just going to fix that later. And I'm just going to work on making the duplicates right now. So, here we go. We're going to start from the top here, and we're going to create a new layer on the very top layer. Now you can see we got tons of pictures we're going to have to do this with, so this is going to take a while. So I'm going to show you how to do it. So we got a layer mask on the very first layer. First thing we're going to do is click the layer mask, and then on our keyboard press Control-I or Command-I if you're on a Mac. So do that, and all that does is make it so we can see through this entire layer. And so we're basically only seeing this layer because this layer is invisible right now. But then what we're going to do is we're going to paint on the layer mask the part where we were visible. So I was sitting right about here. You want to make sure your opacity is on 100% on your brush, unless you want to look transparent. So yeah, you color yourself in just like that. And so now this layer, the only part that is visible on this layer is the little section that we colored in right there. So if you do that many times, it's going to be fine. Next, we're going to do the next one. And another technique that you can also do, if you don't like inverting it first, is you can actually just remove yourself first, just like that, and then invert it, like that. And then you can zoom in later and get into those fine details that you kind of messed up on. Just like that. So I'm going to do that for just a few more times, and then I'm going to speed this up so you don't have to watch me do this for like 5 minutes or something. So grab my brush here, paint this guy in. Just the spot where he is, and nothing else, and then invert it. Bam. I do the same thing with this one. Create a layer mask, make him invisible, and then bring him back. And then you'll see the duplicate right there. And now you'll see this one I have to go back into this layer right here and fill in the spot that I messed up on. Just like so. You might have to reduce the size of your brush considerably because we're working with pixels here. We're not like working zoomed out. We're zooming way in and we're doing this. So there we go. Now you got to do it again. Create a new layer. Whoop. And fill it in. And bring it back by pushing Control-I. Make a new layer mask, erase them, and then click on the layer mask, press Control-I, and then go back to this one and fine tune it. So it's good if you walk around in the same area first, and then like you can see here, I was literally walking up just this part, and then I moved up in this area, and then I went down here. If I took one photo here, one photo over here, one photo over here, one photo down here, all random, That would make it hard to go back and fine tune the things that I just did. So there we go. Now I'm gonna speed this up so you don't have to watch me do this for like 10 minutes. Okay, so that took about 10 minutes, maybe. Maybe like, I don't know, maybe 10, 8, something like that. But as you can see, I got all the layer masks here. Took a while. What I'm going to do right away, I'm just going to zoom in and double check that everything is looking how I want it. How there's no, like, body parts just accidentally chopped off or anything from using the layer mask the wrong way, like there is right here. You can see that I'm kind of invisible right there. So I'm just gonna go back up and check these areas and make sure that I've got all of them filled in how they're supposed to be. There we go. Here's the one I want. So now I'm just gonna brush this back in here, just like so. Look at that, my legs are missing in that one. I'll just go back and fix that really quick. And there we go, I got my legs back in there. Or a leg at least. Okay, so once you have everything all perfected and it's pretty much how you want it in terms of the clones, we're going to select the top layer and we're going to go all the way down and select this bottom layer. And then we're just going to right click inside of an empty area on this layers palette here. You can't click the layer mask and you can't click the actual layer. You have to click somewhere to the right of those two elements. So I'm just going to click on the text right there. And then we're going to click merge layers. So that's just going to combine all those layers into this layer right here that you see. It's just all the clones. Okay, so we've combined all the layers and now we have this layer right here, which is the clones on the play structure. And then I just have some regular photos down here that I took at different exposures. You can see some are bright, some are dark. And I was doing this because I wanted to expose for the sky right here. As you can see in this underexposed picture, the sky is nice and blue. But in this picture, I exposed for the playground structure, so everyone could see what's happening in the playground structure. And basically our cameras don't have enough dynamic range, so it blasted out the sky and made it white. So what I want to do is just bring back the sky in to this composition here. So in order to do that, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my quick selection tool and I'm going to make sure that the add to selection brush is checked and not the subtract. So I'm going to click the add and I'm just going to go in and select all the white areas and just the sky basically. And now you'll see that I'm going to have to go in here and go through each single area on this playground structure where there's like a little hole where you can see through the white sky. And once I get that done, we'll be able to mask in the sky. But there's one more thing I want to show you really quick. Sometimes when you're using the add to selection brush, you'll see that it actually captured some of the roof as the selection. So in order to cancel that selection out and just cancel that little area, we're going to want to grab the subtract from selection, quick select tool, and then we're just going to click and get rid of those areas where it was wrongly selecting that area and just fix it. And then when we let go, we can see that now that area is selected just how we want it, and it's going to be right on the nose. So bammo. Now I'm going to go in and speed this up so you can, because I don't want, again, I don't want you to sit through this through like a whole hour of me doing this. Even though it's not going to be an hour, it's going to be like, I don't know, maybe 8 minutes or something like that. And you'll notice that sometimes when you use this quick selection tool, it'll leak and it'll select things that you don't want selected. So for example, it selected the top of this roof right here. So I'm just going to grab my subtract from selection tool up here and just make sure that it's getting, you know, the areas that I want it to get and not the roof. Okay, so I'd say, you know, that's a pretty good selection right there. We went in, we got through all these little details. Oh my gosh, the details. Okay, and now that we have that done, we're going to make a layer mask out of this. Oh look, there's still a few more that I missed. Alright, good enough. Okay, you get the picture. Okay, so now after we have that, this is just one layer right here. I combined the layer to make it into one, and now we're just gonna make a layer mask by clicking the layer mask button. And now you'll see that that has been removed. But we're gonna press Control I on this sucker, and then bam, we got our sky back. So you can, I took several different ones. This was the darkest photo I took. This was like the second darkest, which I think that's probably the one that I'm going to use because it looks more natural than this. So I actually really don't know. It depends really. This layer, as you can see, is kind of bright. It's too overexposed. So what I'm going to do is just click on it and then click Image Auto Contrast. Now that helps immensely. When you look at it, it looks much better. There you go. That is how you do the multiplicity effect. And you can, if you wanted to, I could just dodge up some of these places just to give it some punchiness, you know, just to add some light where the light is not exactly there already. And I could also just burn the areas where there's too much light just kind of coming in here. So if I select the midtones and I make sure that Protect Tones is on, I can just go in and then burn the areas that I think need a little bit burning. Just a little, not too much. Or what you could actually do is burn it and then dodge it. So I'm going to burn the shadows here by, I don't know, 30%, just right there. And then I'm going to go back and then dodge that same area, but I'm going to dodge the midtones. Just dodge that. So that adds a little bit more punch to a selected area that you want to make more punchy. So here's the before, and here's after. So it depends on what type of look you want. I'm going to stick with that, and that is your picture. And if you want, you can see that the selection area right here was kind of choppy. So I can go back with a soft brush and fix that area. Just like so. Just like this. You want to make sure you got a soft brush though. So now, there you go. You can just fix it just like that. So it's not a hard edge. Now when I'm all done, I'm going to click Layer, Flatten Image, and click OK, and bam, there's my final picture. And now I can crop it any way I want to, just like so, and there you go, you got all the copies of yourself. And now you can do this, remember, you can do this with objects as well as people. And you can also do it with animals.